This is Bumper to Bumper, the car show. Drive in anxious and cruise out confident. With the best automotive information for your vehicle. And now your hosts, Matt Allen and Dave Riccio.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio. Matt Allen is out, so today I am your KTAR car guy, but don't worry, I brought help. We're heard here every Saturday from 11 to noon. At Bumper to Bumper Radio, we are helping you, the motoring public, have a better overall car experience. If you've got car questions, we've got answers. So we encourage you to give us a call at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR, or text us at 411-923. Today on the Bumper to Bumper Roadmap, we're going to be taking your phone calls and your texts. We're going to get a little phone call from the Good Guys Car Show. And water pumps, when do you need one? And I told you I brought help today. I brought Curt Morgan from Shadow Mountain Auto Repair, which is at 32nd Street in Shea. That's my neighborhood and where I grew up. And Curt, today, water pumps. I know that water pumps are one of those things that seem like we used to do them all the time. It's not as frequent, but how many water pumps a week do you do in your shop in the middle of July?
Well, that's when we're doing them. If we're going to do them, it's going to be the heat just hits them and kills them. But, you just hit on the subject. We don't do, it's like so many other things in the car. We're not doing them at the same frequency. It used to be a car, in its lifetime is going to have 3 or 4 water pumps. Now, a lot of them, the only time you're going to replace that water pump is at a timing belt interval, and it's not because it's failed. It's because you don't want it to fail.
Well, timing belt intervals, it used to be 60,000 miles, and realistically, I still hear people sell them like that. They're like stuck in the old days.
They're not stuck in the old days. They're stuck in the trying to take people for money that they shouldn't be spending.
They shouldn't be spending, but it's really more of a 110,000 mile thing, and that's when we're seeing the water pumps. That's when we want to address them, because we know if we take, and there's 2 types of water pumps. There's a kind of water pump. I guess I should step back a bit. A water pump, what that does is that circulates water throughout your engine. And I say water, but what I mean is coolant or antifreeze. That's what cools the engine. So the water pump has an impeller in it, so it's driving the water, and then it's driven by one of 2 things, either a drive belt, so something that turns the alternator and the AC compressor, and then the water pump, or driven by timing belt. So those are going to be kind of your 2 types. The type that are driven by the timing belt, you really can't see them. If you open the hood, they're behind a cover somewhere, but you can't see them. Yep. And then the other kind that you can actually look at. Well, the timing belt type, driven by the timing belt, so you're going to do a timing belt at 110,000 miles. You got to take apart the front of the engine to get to that timing belt. Well, we're going to do the water pump, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, because we know that water pump is not going to last as long as the timing belt that we're putting on, because it's going to be another 110,000 miles before we're back there.
Yeah, likely.
But you said in the old days, in your shop, you would do 3 water pumps a day.
Oh, hell, you couldn't, I don't know, the term is swing a dead cat without hitting a water pump coming off of something, and that was constant, but we have changed that now, and it's for a lot of that is the difference in the water pumps that the manufacturers are putting on. And one of my problems is that the aftermarket water pumps that we're getting, a lot of them do not have the same quality. So you put one on that's been 110,000 miles or 100,000 miles or 150, and you put one on there that's going to go 40. Yeah, it's way cheaper, but I find that the Ison and the most expensive that you can buy are the only ones that I'll use, because everything else is not. It's just not good enough, and there's such a high failure rate. And it's also, it's not that every technology is new. It's also the coolant that we're using, and these manufacturer-specific coolants. And I got to admit, I don't stock every single, of the 150 different manufacturer-specific coolants, but I do stock different coolants, and the universal coolants will cause water pump failure because they're not what that water pump is designed for. It's so critical to put that water pump into the environment that it was designed for.
You hit on, we've talked about a couple things. The water pumps don't fail like they used to, but you're still going to buy a water pump at some point. Mm-hmm. But even before the show, we're talking about quality, and you can pick up the phone and go down the phone book. How much for your water pump? How much for your water pump? How much for your water pump?
Sure.
And I would venture to guess I could buy a water pump that cost me $25. I'm just going to, or I could buy one that cost me $125 at my cost, which then I'm going to mark up to the customer. Mm-hmm. That's a huge price difference.
Huge, and it makes you cringe because you don't want to tell, you'd much rather do the job, make your profit, and quote them $500 instead of $700, especially if there's somebody down around down the corner or something that it's going to buy a Chinese sourced water pump that probably won't go 20. It'll work fine. They drive the car away. It seems to be fine, but 20,000 miles later or 30, that place is out of business. The warranty was 6 months, something like that. Now that we're extending, our warranties 3 years, 36,000 miles. Guys are going to that. A lot of guys going to 2 year, 24,000 mile warranties. And you cannot use the cheaper, junkier parts. You can't cut those corners. And water pumps is one of those areas where it's just huge, the price differential. I have problems with I'm being honest, with the most expensive water pumps that money can buy, and I still think the failure rate is too high. It's something that irritates me. No way would I cut corners, and you see guys that cut corners on that, and it just takes my breath away.
Well, nothing ruins a car faster than overheating it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you overheat a car, it's going to be an expensive repair, for sure.
Could be.
And then that may be one of those repairs where you call around and you're looking for price, and you may, because it's a lot of money, you want to save some money. It's what I call a big ticket item, but, you don't have money to do it right the first time, or, you don't want to do it the second time.
Right.
But cooling systems, and it's only appropriate because we're coming up to summertime, and more cars get ruined in this town than I would imagine in Payson for overheating.
You know it.
I mean, it's a regular deal. And so you brought up coolant, engine coolant, and there's 100 different kinds. There's probably only 32 flavors. I think they make ice cream as well. But there's a blue one, and there's a red one, and there's a green one. So if you're wondering, hey, when do I need a water pump? When should I be thinking about a water pump? And we know that overheating ruins cars. Well, guess what? Coolant's not green anymore. We all look for green puddles because when there's a green puddle, it's serious. Well, it still kind of has a sweet smell to it, but sometimes it's blue, sometimes it's red. What other colors am I missing here? It's
orange,
pink sometimes.
Orange, green, purple, gold, yellow. And the difference in gold and yellow you can barely see, and then the coolant is different. You've got to rely on that guy that's putting coolant in your car to do the right thing. And so many people don't. They're not. And I know you and I both have talked about it. We're both anal retentive about doing the right thing.
OCD as well.
Yeah, OCD. And I don't know. I know I go a little bit overboard with stuff, but there is somewhere there's probably a happy medium. The people that just put the same junk coolant into everything and call it universal, it really irritates me because it actually will do damage. It is not the correct chemical formulation, and you can get away with that back east. You can get away with that where it's not 120 degrees in the summer. Underhood temperatures are 300 degrees for hours at a time. You can get away with that maybe. You're not getting away with that long term in Phoenix. It might go for a year, it might go for 2, it might go for 6 months, but long term it's going to cause problems, and guess what? Doing it right costs more, and here we go again. We were talking about it earlier, the people that just want cheap, and that's kind of less and less nowadays, but boy, you feel sorry for those people that just want cheap,
Well, I understand the economic pressure of it, but it's one of those things, if you don't want to pay for it the first time, you're not going to want to pay for it the second time, and you end up doing more damage. And we're talking about cars that, cars, you just don't go to the shop like you used to have to.
No, and it shouldn't be. And we have to change our business. Our business, there's a lot of discussion about it, but guys, we have to see customers less and do a better job because the cars are more reliable. They're going to go farther between services. And to try and push that or artificially change that so that we're making more money is something that I feel strongly is the wrong thing to do. The progressive shops are getting on board with it. We're going to see our customers less. It's probably going to cost more to fix the vehicle, that one visit a year instead of 3 or 4. But ultimately, it's so to the consumer's benefit. The cost of ownership is less than it used to be because each individual repair might be more, but the car is going to see a lot less repair, and to try and make it where it's not there, it's just dishonest. And
well, the things that have gone away, we used to do CV boots all the time.
Yeah,
CV boots don't go that bad anymore.
Nope.
We used to do spark plugs every 30,000 miles. We don't do spark plugs every 30,000 miles. Even in my business, the transmission business, you used to service your transmission every 15,000 miles.
Yeah.
The fluids are better. The transmissions work better. They're designed better. They used to stick the planetary gears next to each other. Now they put them on the other end of the transmission to keep the heat down.
Yep.
So things, they are changing, and some people aren't adapting to it per se. The way I look at it is you buy a car brand new. And really for 100,000 miles, you're going to change the oil. There may be some brake jobs in there. There may be a set of tires in there, maybe a coolant service. There's not the maintenance that we used to see, but at 100,000 miles, there's going to be a big repair bill. It's not so much we got to do a timing belt. We got to do the water pump. We may consider looking at the radiator. If the radiator is looking a little rough, we may consider doing it at that time. There's a bunch of things that we're going to do at that time, but then, you know what? It's going to be good for another 100,000 miles. You may have a repair like a transmission. People think that, it's a terrible car, the transmission went out. It's actually not that uncommon. There's a bell curve of failure, and, right there, 140, 150,000 miles, they do fail. That's why I have a transmission business. And, but people are a little bit surprised. So you're going to have a repair there, but there's no reason you can't get 200,000 miles out of a car. They're built just that well anymore.
Most of them with minimal repair in that period of time. There's going to be some, and there's always that question of, do you fix it or do you replace it? I can't answer that because a new car is just a neat thing. It's fun to have, and sometimes the right thing to do, even if it makes no financial sense. But as far as keeping a car on the road for 200,000 miles, you and I both know we see cars every single day at 200,000 miles that I would take the car right now and drive to Connecticut with no problem at all. And we're doing that with so much less repair up to that point that it's bad for the automotive business, but there's fewer bays, there's fewer technicians, there's fewer shops than there's ever been, and we're going to continue on that trend for a while. It'll even out, but guys still trying to make work where there isn't work is one of my big pet peeves. Tremendous financial incentive given the way the industry is going.
Well, when we come back, we're going to go out to Betsy Bennett at Good Guys Car Show. You're listening to Dave. I'm Dave. Matt is off. And Curt Morgan from Shadow Mountain Auto Repair, you're listening to Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hot Rod season is back at the Good Guys 6th Spring Nationals Car Show presented by Brown's Classic Autos at Westworld in Scottsdale, March 13th to the 15th. Spend 3 days in horsepower heaven with the Good Guys. Check out over 2,500 classic American vehicles at our giant show and shine. Visit vendor exhibits, shop the swap meet, and the Cars for Sale Corral. Plus, enjoy free fun stuff for the kids. For tickets and details, visit good-guys.com. Good Guys, full throttle fun.
Ever wonder how the people that built those old castles kept the rain out? I don't think they did. But let's face it, your home is your castle, and you can protect it because you have Kaiko Roofing on your side and on your roof. But don't wait for an emergency. Those other castles have been around for hundreds of years. If your roof is more than 10 years old, you really should have the trusted professionals at Kaiko give you a free roof checkup today. Flat, foam, tile, or shingles, Kaiko handles them all. From a small leak to a complete new roof, Kaiko has you covered. And when you invite Kaiko up on your roof for that free checkup, if you don't need anything done, they'll tell you. That's the kind of trust that results in half of Kaiko's business coming from referrals or repeat customers. Call 602-944-4600 or check KaikoRoofing.com for all the rest, including financing options. Kaiko Roofing, they're crazy about quality.
Hi, I'm Scott, General Manager with Whitey's Auto Repair here in South Scottsdale. We built a reputation for quality auto service and repair for over 45 years, and our customers have come to trust us for our recommendations. We value that trust, and that's why when it comes to transmissions, for the past several decades, we have been recommending Tri-City Transmission. They have yet to disappoint. I feel so strongly about it, I wouldn't go anywhere else. Why would you? Google them online today at tricitytransmission.com. Go where the pros go. Tri-City Transmission.
This is Bumper to Bumper Radio, KTAR News on 92.3 FM.
Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio. Matt Allen is out, so I brought some help. I brought Curt Morgan from Shadow Mountain Auto Repair at 32nd Street in Shea. Curt has been doing auto repair in this town for a long time. How long?
That gets me because just 2 weeks ago now, my wife and I became empty nesters. Makes me old, right?
Yep.
And I look back on it, and I have been here working on cars for more than 30 years. Oh, I feel so old saying that.
I know. I hired a guy this week that hired me 20 years ago.
Yep.
He taught me how to bust a tire.
Yep.
Well, we are going to go out to Good Guys Car Show, which is in town. We see it twice a year, and if you haven't been out to the Good Guys Car Show, it's something you need to see. I could tell you all about it, but I got somebody better on the line that knows all about it. Betsy, how are you today?
Hey, Dave, I'm good. My voice is a little crazy today, but other than that, I'm good.
All right. Are you out there watching the autocross, or what are you doing?
I am. I'm actually sitting out at the main... you can tell I'm on the radio. I'm out at the main car gate just watching the cars come in.
Excellent. Now, the Good Guys Car Show, you guys come here in the spring and in the fall. And
We do.
And I know a lot of our listeners have been there, but a lot of them haven't been there. Give us an idea. It's out at Westworld, and it's...
Right, so we're out at Westworld, which is off of Pima Road. So we have about 2,500 hot rods, customs, and classic cars on display. There's vendor exhibits. There's an autocross. There's a huge swap meet. I walked it yesterday. A model car show, kids activities. So there's a lot of things to see and do when you're out here. It's a big automotive festival.
A Mecca. It's also known as the Mecca for automotive fun.
The Mecca? Yeah, that too.
I threaten every year to come out there and drive the autocross. I just can't bring my Honda. I can't bring my Honda. They won't let me in the gate.
No, but you can bring something fun and go race it.
Well, you said there was stuff for kids. If I was going to bring my kids, I got just a kid. What is he going to do out there?
So they have a kids area where there's a lot of activities. There's a PPG, the coloring contest, and we have a model make and take, so the kids can get a model car kit donated from Revell, and they can build it and take it home as a souvenir. So we try and incorporate the family element to this event so that everybody has something.
Well, Betsy, I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you go get a hot tea and and relax. But for all the listeners, I know they can find the information for the Good Guys Car Show. They can go to bumpertobumperradio.com. There's a link there to get out to your website. But all that information is on there. Is there anything else they need to know for coming to see you guys?
You know, we're open out here 8 to 5 today, and then we'll be here 8 to 3 tomorrow. So we are, the event's in full swing. It's a beautiful, perfect day out here. So we invite everyone to come out and enjoy the fun with us.
All right. Thanks so much, Bessie. We'll see you out there.
Dave. Okay. Thanks again.
You bet. Bye.
That thing is so much fun. The cart, that thing is, oh.
It is the Mecca.
Yeah.
You know, I could just sit there and watch autocross for hours, and it is... It's more exciting to me than watching cars go circle at NASCAR. Yeah, you're not going to go that far.
I'm not admitting to that because my wife is the biggest NASCAR fan.
Oh, yeah.
That was so much fun together, so whatever. I like it, too.
Well, real good. To get a hold of the show, 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. We are going to go with Pete. He's in Goodyear, and he's got a question on a 2008 Hyundai Sonata. Hey, Pete, how can we help you with your Sonata? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Yeah, I got almost. Anyway, how are you guys doing today? Sorry about that.
No, it's all right. We're doing fantastic, but we're worried about your Hyundai.
Good. Okay. Not really worried too much right now. I got close to 300,000 miles on it. I drive it quite a bit every day, about 100 to 150 miles, 5 days a week. It's been a great car. I've kept up on, all the maintenance. I think they see me for an oil change every 6 to 8 weeks. But I have a question. My transmission, I've always changed that too, the oil in that. But just recently it's starting to slip. At if I'm on the freeway in traffic going 25, 30, all of a sudden it just speeds up. And if I hit the gas too fast, I feel a little slippage. I guess my question is that something I should get into the shop now, or just put an additive into it and just kind of let it...
Is it an auto? I'm assuming it's an automatic.
Yeah, automatic, 4-cylinder. I don't drive hard on the car at all.
You bet. And a couple other questions I have is: is the check engine light come on?
No.
Okay. Now, one thing on those Hyundais, they are very quick to set a diagnostic trouble code, and turn that check engine light on if that transmission slips. So, we could be looking at, a transmission problem, or maybe even a transmission control problem. So sometimes, you get on the gas too hard, you could be putting it in the wrong gear. It feels like it's slipping, but maybe it's not necessarily slipping.
Okay.
So
I guess, should I try to get ahead of it and get into a shop now?
I would definitely get it in and get into a shop. Then you can make sure you're not doing a bigger repair than you need to. But it could be just be a control problem. I mean, 300,000 miles is a lot of miles on a transmission.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean, these are all highway miles, I would assume.
Pretty much so. And like you guys were talking about earlier, I have family in California. I'd get in my car tomorrow and drive it over there no problem. Like I said, I've always kept on top of it. It's been a great car.
For sure. Well, yeah, no, I would definitely get it in. I wouldn't ignore it.
Okay.
If you got a great shop, stick with them, or you can find a good shop at bumpertobumperradio.com. Thanks for the call, Pete. 602-277-5827. 602-277-KTAR. Looks like we're going to go with Claude in Phoenix on a 2000 Buick Century. How can we help you today, Claude? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Well, I have a 2000 Buick Century with about 92,000 miles. I inherited the car from my mother-in-law. And about the last year and a half, I had it in the shop. Once we do a transmission every 25,000 service with the heat out here. It gets not every time, but in the city driving when it gets warm, it gets a knock around 20. It's not a slip, like a bang, and I get another bang around 40. But I put it in the highway and never hear anything going on with it. You think it'd be advisable to get to a good transmission shop and let them look at it and see what could be done with it?
Man, I'm being really, really teased here today with transmission questions because that's what I love. The transmission that's in your Buick is 4T65. It's using a lot of cars across the industry. And have you had any check engine lights come on?
No, I haven't. I had one guy look at it about a year ago, put it on a screen, and he says that the transmission needs to be replaced, and gave me an exorbitant amount of money to replace the transmission. So, and the car's 15 years old already, so you got to start looking at the thing, what you're going to do with it.
Yeah, you do. One of the things that we see is real common on that transmission is there's a electronic pressure control solenoid that likes to go bad, and people describe it to me when the car gets nice and hot, and after they've been driving a while, they're going to get hard shifts because it's going to.
It is not like a slip. It's like a bang and a bang. But if you get it up on the highway at 65, it never gives you any problems.
Right, because at that point it's not shifting at all. But what happens is the computer is recognizing a slip of the transmission, and what it's doing is it's elevating that line pressure to compensate for the slip. It's a maximum adaptation. So that's what it's doing, and then you turn the key off and the symptom's gone the next morning. It's fairly common. If you catch it soon enough, it can be fixed without having to do that major repair. But also you could be, it does need to get into a transmission shop. So your best case is probably going to be somewhere in that $600 range, but it could be that exorbitant number. So, Curt, any thoughts from you?
Yeah, both of those. They don't get better. Get things to a shop. The sooner the better. You have no chance of having something get better on its own. Always get somebody you trust to look at it before it gets worse.
When we come back, we're taking more phone calls at 602-277-5827. I want to mention here in a couple weeks, we are going to be out doing a remote from Matt's shop, March 28th. We'll be out there from 10 to 2. There's going to be food, and we get to dunk Matt. We'll be right back.
There's nothing more important than family. Hi, Kurt Rock for Kurt's Auto Repair. Family owned and operated and Bumper to Bumper Radio preferred. We've been taking care of Valley families and their auto care needs with a perfect Better Business record for over 27 years. Come experience the difference our ASE Master Techs can make for you and your family at Kurt's Auto Repair. Just east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue and Bell Road, or online at mycarhurts.com. Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurt's.
Hey guys, my name is Bailey Tales, and as a member of the Girls Golf of Phoenix, I can't wait for this year's JTBC Founders Cup. Money raised from the tournament goes to girls golf, helping girls learn about golf and life values. March 17th through the 22nd, you can show your support of girls golf and head out to see the best female golfers of the LPGA at Wildfire Golf Club. Get your tickets today. The 2015 JTBC Founders Cup. Strong foundation, bright future. I'll be there, will you?
This is Matt Allen from Virginia Auto Service and Bumper to Bumper Radio. Join us Saturday, March 28th from 10 to 2 p.m. as we celebrate 20 years serving you from the corner of 7th Street in Virginia. Bumper to Bumper Radio will be live at 11 a.m. There's food, prizes, and a blood drive for United Blood Services. Proceeds benefit Phoenix Children's Hospital. For more information, go to virginiaautoservice.com. And thank you, Phoenix, for 20 great years.
Few cities are as car-centric as Phoenix, and this is the show that'll help you to better understand that machine you depend on to get around the valley. It's Bumper to Bumper Radio. KTAR News on 92.3 FM and the KTAR app for Android and iPhone.
Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio, missing my co-host today, who's out. So I brought some help with me. I brought Curt Morgan from Shadow Mountain Auto Repair to help you with your car. And Curt just reminded me of something. He grew up, and his family has been in the engine building business for decades upon decades.
Since the 1920s.
Since the 1920s. There's not too many guys in our network that can say that. I think you're the only one. But when I was explaining to Curt about how we build transmissions and remanufacturing of the transmissions, he was right there. And I'm like, oh, okay. That's right. You're into that.
Well, you were talking about how people will mix and match parts, and the way you do is take transmission apart, and you take that transmission goes through your whole process in your assembly line, and you're doing that transmission's parts that are worn together. It's unthinkable to somebody in the engine building business that they would take different, mix and match parts. It's like I said, you do that in the third world country where you're all so poor that you're taking, bits and pieces from all these junk things, and so many that are the big, huge rebuilders will do that, take a bunch of parts from disparate different areas and put them together, and of course they have much less chance of working.
Well, it becomes kind of a hodgepodge,
yeah,
of stuff. Even like on my bicycle, you actually replace the chain and cassette at the same time. It's just something replaces a pair. Otherwise, you got a new cassette and you got an old chain, or you got an old chain and a new cassette, and it's just not going to last or wear out. So there's some different theories about how we do things. I'm looking here at the text, and let's take a look here. You can reach the show at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR, and I'm reading a text here. Where do you find AC relay for 2009 Jeep Wrangler? AC stopped blowing air. Freon is good. Curt, can you just give us your wealth of knowledge there on that one? I wouldn't specifically know where the relay is, but what is he talking about?
Well, you're talking an electrical problem likely. I get this a lot of times. People say, oh, well, here, I think it's this or I think it's that. And I tell my students, I just finished teaching my advanced diagnostics class. We did our final. And I'm so, I just over and over and over, I preach, you have to have a systemized way of diagnosing what's going on before you just start randomly looking for what part you think might be the failure. And let's spend some time actually looking to make sure that's it. That doesn't sound like it's a relay problem right there. That sounds like something else. And I would certainly go down the road of trying to figure out what it is rather than randomly find a part that we think might be it.
All right, that sounds good. You can text us at 411-923. Let me go through these texts here. Automatic climate control. I don't realize what kind of vehicle that is. Send us your vehicle on that climate control question. Anyway, we are going to go to the phones. Up first this segment, we are going to go with Jerry in Mesa on a 1996 Chrysler Town and Country. How can we help you today, Jerry? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Yeah, it's a 2006.
Great.
And it's got a 3.3-liter engine. And when you were talking about water pumps and timing chains, I said, whoa, wait a minute. I got $141,000 on this puppy, and should I do anything with it? It's running great.
No. There we go. Next caller.
No. It's running good. Are you asking specifically, is there a water pump you need to change or a timing belt? Or
I don't need anything. But you said they go bad about $100,000?
Water pump wise, I would say, if we were to give you kind of a range of water pumps, Curt, you would say,
oh, there's a huge range.
100,000 to 150,000 miles.
Okay. Yeah, but there's all kinds of vehicles outside. You see water pumps fail at 30 or 40,000 miles. You see them at 250, and it's the original water pump. So the thing is, we're back again to the preacher thing, is that find somebody that you trust, and hopefully that you have somebody that you go to. Make sure that they're doing the correct maintenance. We talk about a correct water pump repair when we're doing a timing belt because we're in there and it's a big job and we're already in there. As far as something like that, you don't have a timing belt driven water pump that's external, and you're not going to touch that water pump until it actually fails or you see evidence that it's failing.
It's external. It's one of them you can see by lifting the hood and shining your flashlight at the front of the engine, which is a kind you can look at, and they will show signs. There's a little weep hole when the seal goes bad inside there that starts to leak out, and so we know when they're starting to go. And if you see puddles in the driveway of coolant, let's not get to that point. The car should be get in the shop from time to time.
And a gradual failure, what is typical of a water pump, they gradually fail. You can see that coming, oncoming failure. So somebody that's under the hood doing, somebody that's competent, not a Jiffy Lube or something like that. You're looking to see these things, you're going to catch it. And there's, we brought up something. Here's somebody asking that question. And that's why I kind of laughed and said, don't do anything. Because there's the guys that will say, oh yeah, well, those water pumps typically tail 150,000 miles, you're at 150. Let's do it before it fails. And that's lining the shop's pocket. So I disagree with it strongly on something like that. Wait till it fails. We don't have a crystal ball. We don't know.
Yeah, I could see if you live in the middle of nowhere, you might just go ahead and replace it ahead of time. But
well, where do you stop? You're going to replace a water pump, and you're going to replace all the bearings, and you're going to replace the front wheel bearings, and you're going to, it's at some point, let's have somebody that you trust. Cars sometimes break down. That you can't, no matter how much money you spend, you can't change that. And let's good maintenance programs with somebody who's competent and really cares about your car is the best thing you can do.
The two callers we had before, their question was, do I take it into the shop? And your answer was like, yeah, take it in the shop. It's not going to get any better. Now this guy here, you say, don't worry about it. But I get the, I get
he has
the point.
No problem. He's saying, what do I do? I have no problem. There's guys that will take advantage of that guy, and that guy's trying to do the right thing, and sounds like a good guy the whole bit. And there's somebody will say, yeah, sure, come on in, let's put a water pump on it. You're fixing to have a failure, and I hate that.
Well, the caller earlier on the Hyundai, we didn't get to it. He was asking about, should I just put an additive in there? And I meant to address that. Don't pour any additives in your transmission. Don't. There's no mechanic in a bottle that's going to fix anything. If anything, he's going to pour an additive in there, and we don't even know if we have a transmission problem. Those additives are maybe they're like a last-ditch effort, and they'll ruin a perfectly good transmission.
Well, 20,000 car lots in Arizona can't be wrong. Used car lots, they sometimes tend to postpone a problem and make it worse when it happens. Seal swell agents and stuff like that, putting pepper or eggs or whatever in things that, sure, it may fix a leak or temporarily fix a slipping problem, but it weakens those seals that it swells up, and then it's catastrophic failure shortly thereafter. So you and me both are on the same page with the mechanic in a can stuff. I'm not a big fan.
Well, thanks for the call, Jerry. We're going to go with Caleb in Buckeye. It looks like he's got a 2007 Chrysler Aspen. How can we help you today, Caleb? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Well, hey, guys, first off, thanks a lot for taking my call today.
You're welcome.
On this vehicle, I have an intermittent check engine light. I had the code red, and it came up as a very small vacuum leak. It was suggested to me that it may have been a faulty fuel cap. So I went
EVAP, probably not vacuum, probably EVAP, very small EVAP leak, right?
Okay, I went and bought just a cheapo fuel cap replacement for it, and it was exactly the one that was on it. The problem went away for a little while, and then it came back, so I went ahead and ordered an OEM fuel cap, and again, I had maybe a week without the issue, and now the check engine light is back on again, and it's the same code it's throwing. And one other bit of information, I don't know if it'd help you with this. When I fuel this vehicle up, it doesn't automatically stop the fuel. It'll overflow if I don't stay there at the handle.
That's a good piece of information. Well, I think that Curt has a whole bunch of information for you. That is probably the most common code I see in auto repair. Seems like I look at these older cars, they all got VAP codes, and everybody refers to it as the gas cap code. Now, when you got an EVAP code, before you go spending time and money trying to diagnose this thing, it's worth a $10 try if you got an older vehicle to throw a gas cap on it. But what's happening there is that fuel system, that gas tank and all those hoses and everything, they're meant to be airtight so that we do not vent fuel fumes into the atmosphere. And the vehicle is self-testing, so it's pressurizing that system and waiting to see how long for the pressure to go away. So it tells on itself if there's a problem. So when the check engine light goes on, it told on itself. Curt, he's put gas caps on it. I thought it was interesting. He said that the fuel doesn't stop when he's filling it up.
And that's, that's excellent for him to have that much knowledge to know that it's related to, the system has to do a whole bunch of things. The EVAP system on the cars is very, very complicated. And one of the things that allows it's also venting. When you put gas in, air's got to go somewhere. It's got to allow that to vent out. And he's having a problem both with the venting during he's filling it and also having and that Chrysler system is probably an NVLD EVAP system. It actually tests the system in the garage at night while you're sleeping. And your car's
really?
Working for you. Yeah. And they have a lot of problems with those systems. So it could be anything from a little tiny leak. They don't just, it's a gross leak, a medium leak, a very small, the technical term's actually a very small leak, and those can be difficult to find.
So if that came to your shop, your technician looks at it, he's going to obviously scan, he's going to verify the code. What is he going to do to figure that out?
First thing we're going to do is verify he's done the right thing, put an OEM gas cap. I do see problems, a lot of problems, like a Stant and the aftermarket cheapy gas caps. I see quite a few problems where we've had to go diagnose the car, and then it turns out to be just a gas cap. And
what he started with.
Right, so factory gas cap, okay, we can kind of eliminate that as a problem. And then you have to run the system, force the system to run into its whatever mode it's using for leak detection, and then go from there. If the code reoccurs, we smoke the system. You introduce a smoke into that, so you have to seal it off, and it's a pretty big process. It's tedious, and it's not fun. And then you fill the system with something that you can see where it's leaking from. A very small leak is just that. It is less than 40 thousandths diameter orifice that it's leaking from, and it can be hours of looking at every single junction, the length of the car, looking for a little bit of leak.
What do we do before smoke machines? I actually know what we used to do. I was talking to Joel from Arizona Imports, and he bought himself a cigar, he would take a puff and then blow it into the fuel tank.
No, I never did that. Oh, good God.
Well, thanks so much for the call, Caleb. We are going to go with Andrew on a 2007 Camry XLE. Go ahead, Andrew. You are on Bumper to Bumper Radio. What can we help you with today?
Hello, thanks for taking my call.
You bet.
I just had a few questions. As far as first of all, my car has over 113,000 miles. So as far as the maintenance and service on the engine goes, should I take it into the shop to have it looked at now?
As far as, are you having any problems with it at all?
No, I bought the car with about 108,000 miles. So in between then and now, it's been great. Haven't had any problems. But I was just wondering about how to service the engine, transmission, if I should go take it in to have it looked at.
You bet. I think this is something that hits on for me, is that I'm a big believer, and Matt and I talk about it all the time, about the comprehensive vehicle evaluation. Mm-hmm. Not the freebie you get when they change your oil. Mm-hmm. I like people paying for a service like that because they're not obligated to buy anything by somebody coming to them with a list and you should get this and this and this and this. We got to get a starting point for the vehicle. You've had the vehicle for 5,000 miles. We don't really know much about it. We don't know if somebody's already addressed the timing belt. We don't know if they've taken care of the brakes. We don't know what's going on. So you want a shop to look that thing over from end to end and see if it needs anything. And then you have a game plan for how you're going to take care of this car. But otherwise, we don't know what's been done to it.
Mm-hmm. And it's so important to develop that It sounds like, it's a new car. If you don't have somebody to go develop that relationship. Find somebody who's going to tell you honestly and fairly your situation may be different than other people's situations. They need to take into account the fact that you need that car safe and reliable as a minimum, but you may have a $10,000 garage floor that cannot have a drop of oil hit it. You may live in an apartment complex and you don't care how much oil it leaks. Your situation needs to be taken into account, and then somebody needs to go over that vehicle and talk to you, understand your needs and what that vehicle has to do for you and what's appropriate for you to do as far as repair. It sounds like, it's running fine. There's probably not much, but that's the beginning of a relationship that's going to continue. And that car hits 120 or 130, 150. That's when that relationship becomes as important as any other single thing you'll do to the car.
Hey, Andrew, if you don't have a good shop that you trust, you can find one at bumper2bumperradio.com. You're going to find shops like Curt's, and we didn't catch what part of town you're in, but there's shops all over the valley that we believe in, that we know are going to be good for a relationship like that. Bumper2bumperradio.com. We will be right back. We're going to get to some of your text and a few more phone calls. You're listening to Dave without Matt, but we've got Curt Morgan, Bumper to Bumper Radio.
When you're searching for an automotive service relationship, quality and trust matters. Hi, Dave Denman here from Dave's Car Care, where we've been servicing our customers from the same location with the same ownership for over 32 years. We're on the northwest corner of 51st Avenue in Peoria. At Dave's Car Care, we strive to earn your trust every time you turn the key. With a friendly and courteous staff that has earned us a A+ rating from BBB, AAA approved auto repair, because we really do practice what we preach. We provide nationwide warranty, shuttle service, available loaner cars, and financing options to make your experience with us convenient. We also give you the peace of mind that your job gets done right the first time, with ASC certified technicians at a clean, state-of-the-art facility. We're your neighborhood service solution for all makes and models and a great alternative to the dealership. Dave's Car Care, where quality has always and still does matter. Check us out at davescarcareaz.com.
Hi, Lisa Henry with Russ Lyon Sotheby's International Realty. Have you been thinking maybe the time is right to move, but you're not sure if you have enough equity in your home or if it really is a good time? Well, home values have increased significantly over the past few years, and interest rates are still historically low. For how long? No one knows. But for every 1% increase in the interest rate, the result is about a 10% loss in purchasing power. So it might be a really great time to sell your home and either upsize or downsize to a new home while the interest rates are still low. Contact me via my website at lisareneehenry.com or direct at 480-330-9530 for a no-obligation market valuation on your home and to hear about our global online marketing plan designed to sell your home quickly for top dollar. Again, that's lisareneehenry.com, 480-330-9530. Come experience the difference a truly customer-focused real estate agent can make.
Hot Rod season is back at the Good Guys 6th Spring Nationals Car Show presented by Brown's Classic Autos at Westworld in Scottsdale, March 13th to the 15th. Bring the whole family and watch the tire-screeching Good Guys Autocross racing competition. Or get on the gas and put your vehicle and driving skills to the test and compete on the course yourself. And bring out those late models on Sunday, March 15th for the All-American Sunday celebration open to all years of American-made and powered vehicles. For tickets and details, visit good-guys.com. Good Guys, full throttle fun.
Hi, I'm Scott, General Manager with Whitey's Auto Repair here in South Scottsdale. We built a reputation for quality auto service and repair for over 45 years, and our customers have come to trust us for our recommendations. We value that trust, and that's why when it comes to transmissions, for the past several decades, we have been recommending Tri-City Transmission. They have yet to disappoint. I feel so strongly about it, I wouldn't go anywhere else. Why would you? Google them online today at tricitytransmission.com. Go where the pros go. Tri-City Transmission.
Ever wonder how the people that built those old castles kept the rain out? I don't think they did. But let's face it, your home is your castle, and you can protect it because you have Kaiko roofing on your side and on your roof. But don't wait for an emergency. Those other castles have been around for hundreds of years. If your roof is more than 10 years old, you really should have the trusted professionals at Kaiko give you a free roof checkup today. Flat, foam, tile, or shingles, Kaiko handles them all. From a small leak to a complete new roof, Kaiko has you covered. And when you invite Kaiko up on your roof for that free checkup, if you don't need anything done, they'll tell you. That's the kind of trust that results in half of Kaiko's business coming from referrals or repeat customers. Call 602-944-4600 or check KaikoRoofing.com for all the rest, including financing options. Kaiko Roofing, they're crazy about quality.
Hi, this is Michelle Wee, LPGA player. Join me in Phoenix this March to compete against a field of the best women golfers in the world at the 2015 LPGA Founders Cup, March 17th to 22nd at Wildfire Golf Club. Tickets start at only $25 and can be purchased online at lpgafounderscup.com. LPGA Founders Cup. Strong foundation, bright future.
Who can you trust here in the Valley to repair your ride? This is Bumper to Bumper Radio, KTAR News on 92.3 FM.
Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio. Out is Matt Allen. He's got some things going on. So I've got Curt Morgan from Shadow Mountain Auto Repair in here to help me help you with your car. And I'm hoping that all of our listeners can join us Saturday, March 28th, which is, I think, 2 Saturdays from now, out at Virginia Auto Service, which is at 7th Street in Virginia. That's Matt's shop there right on the corner. And he's going to have food. We're going to be doing the radio show from there. There's going to be a dunk tank. I said earlier we get to dunk Matt, and that's the only reason I'm showing up. Otherwise, I would just stay home. So I want to see what that's all about. There's going to be, I think, a bounce house, or he's working on a bounce house for the kids. But it's going to be fun. The other thing that we're going to be doing, or he's going to be doing, not even him, his technicians are going to be doing, is they're going to have cars taken apart, and they're going to be doing show and tell with radio listeners or with his customers or whoever's out there. Come on out and learn something about cars in a very non-pressure environment. It's like I always invite people to come down and take a look at their car because I can show you so much better than I can explain it to you over the phone. So I invite them to come down, and I think they're a little bit apprehensive, about going down, and I'm not going to know what I'm looking at. What's fun is you can see what broken looks like. I mean, broken is, a lot of times, it's obviously broken. You're like, yeah, that's not good. So I like the show and tell thing. I do want to get to some text. I've got a text here from a gentleman, I believe, on a 1999 Ford Expedition, Eddie Bauer, and sounds like the pump that pumps the suspension is getting noisy. Is it something that a fairly competent home mechanic can replace, or is it something for the shop? What is the ballpark cost? Glenn from Phoenix. What do you think, Curt?
Yeah, that pump is easy to replace. Anybody that is even thinking about it probably has the capability of doing it. And those pumps, $300-400, you can buy them. My concern with that is, and it's way cheaper than taking it to a shop, which, by the time we make our money on the pump and the labor and everything, it's going to be pretty expensive. The reason that those pumps tend to fail is because they're overworked. And they're overworked when the airbags start to leak. And those things will have to, it's not designed to have to pump the whole air suspension up every time that car sits overnight. There's some small amount of leakage that's allowable, but when they start to leak down, that's when the pump gets overworked. They start making noise. You put a new pump on it, and I'll just burn the new pump up if your air suspension's got another leak in it.
So in auto repair, there's always two things. There's what broke, and then there's why it broke. And if you don't find out why it broke, it'll just break again.
Root cause.
And here you're saying, the pump is bad, so we're going to get a new pump, and we're going to put that on. But if we don't find the leak, the pump's going to be overworked. And so one you think it can handle. I've got another one here. Looks like a 99 Chevy Tahoe, 105,000 miles, runs great. I want to maintenance the transmission. Flush, pan, and filter drop, ? Yes, yes, and yes. So I would say a good transmission service not always, but many times includes removing the transmission pan and changing the filter. Now, I don't believe you necessarily have to do that on every service. It depends on what your maintenance intervals are, but a lot of places won't drop the pan. And so you got a filter transmissions do wear, and those filters start to get restricted, and when they get restricted, it starts lowering the pressure in the transmission. When you get lower pressure in the transmission, it eventually fails. So if it has a serviceable filter, I would say service the filter. So yes, I would remove... When service the filter? Yeah. 99 Tahoe, that's an older style transmission fluid. I think that thing should be changed every 2 years, a transmission fluid, or every 30,000 miles. But I've seen people say, hey, I'll do the pan off and the flush one time, and then the next time I'm just going to do the flush service. And so I'm not. Now, that word flush means so many different things to so many different people. Some people flush a transmission by pouring in a bottle of schmooey that has all these electrolytes in it, right? It's going to make your transmission feel good, and then they drain it out. That's what they consider a flush. When I say flush, what I am thinking of is we literally go to the transmission cooler lines, and we take them loose, and we let the transmission pump out all the fluid that's in it. At the same time, we add fresh fluid into the transmission, and so we're pushing out the old fluid with the fresh fluid. And even though a transmission holds 10 or 12 quarts, when we do a complete fluid exchange or flush, what we're doing is actually using 15 quarts to achieve a transmission being full at 12. So that's what I would do. So I'm not sure, you said 100,000 miles on it, so it doesn't sound like that vehicle gets a lot of miles for a 99, but definitely do that. You don't want to skip out on transmission services. Looks like we got time for one more phone call. I've got Mike in Santan, 06 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited. Hey, Mike, what can we help you with? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hey, you guys. Thank you for taking my call.
You bet.
I've got a 2006 Jeep TJ Unlimited, about 80,000 miles. Thing runs great Jeep. My only issue with it is my air conditioner, my air vents. When I'm accelerating or driving down the highway, it has a tendency to switch the air to come out the defrost instead of out the dash. Now, I've checked all the vacuum lines. I can't seem to find a leak anywhere. I guess my question is, is the next step, do I tear apart the dash and check the switches
There is a leak, though. Somewhere there you're losing vacuum, and there's supposed to be a residual check valve in that, or a one-way check valve that'll hold vacuum in under the dash. When you lose vacuum, it's normal. You go to accelerate, you drop engine vacuum, you're going to lose vacuum signal to under the dash. So either the valve that's supposed to lock the vacuum to hold it into the dash for that few minutes while you're at full throttle is bad, or you've got a leak that's significant and most likely under the dash. Yeah, it can be hard to find those too.
Okay. How would you recommend finding those?
Well, honestly, that's not a science thing. Here I am big on, there's a way to diagnose things, blah, blah, blah. But those things, you kind of have to know where the common leaks are. The valve itself, the switching valve is very common. You go in there and look at it. Usually you can actually see the leak. The valve itself is coming apart, and you can see it. Or you'll see visually, you'll see a hose that's got a hole in it or is pulled away from the nipple that it attaches to.
I love working under the dashboard. It's when I pull out my contortionist skills. You're upside down on your head. You got your feet laying over the top of the seat. Up underneath the dashboard is no fun. So, well, thanks for joining us. Thanks, Bree, for running the dials. If you're looking for a friendly, honest, competent shop like Curt's shop from Shadow Mountain Auto Repair at 32nd and Shea, you can find them at bumpertobumperradio.com. By the way, when you're there, be sure to like Matt and myself on Facebook. Thanks, Curt, for coming in and helping our listeners.
Thanks for having me.
Remember never to text and drive, and we look forward to seeing our listeners out Saturday, March 28th at Virginia Auto Service. We'll see you next week.
What's that, Matt? We're celebrating 20 years at Virginia Auto Service in Central Phoenix. Join us for the party on Saturday, March 28th from 10 till 2 at 7th Street in Virginia. Bumper to Bumper Radio will broadcast live, and there'll be food, fun, prizes, demos, and a blood drive for United Blood Services. Proceeds benefit Phoenix Children's Hospital.
Do I get cake?
There's a dunk tank for you, Dave.
What?
For more info, go to virginiaautoservice.com.
Hot Rod season is back at the Good Guys 6th Spring Nationals Car Show, presented by Brown's Classic Autos at Westworld in Scottsdale, March 13th through the 15th. Spend 3 days in horsepower heaven with the Good Guys. Check out over 2,500 classic American vehicles at our giant show and shine. Visit vendor exhibits, shop the swap meet, and the Cars for Sale Corral. Plus, enjoy free fun stuff for the kids. For tickets and details, visit good-guys.com. Good Guys, full throttle fun.
It sounds like they've just had the accurate automotive experience. We're family owned and operated and have served the Mesa, Tempe, Gilbert communities for over 22 years. We focus on building long-lasting relationships and, oh yeah, listening to you so that we can understand, meet, and exceed your expectations. One location, 14 bays, 88 years of automotive expertise, and a passionate commitment to customer service and excellence. My name is Lee Weatherby, and I approve this message because it's true. We love what we do, and we want to do it for you. Accurate Automotive, the home of friends serving friends.
Join us for everything automotive on Bumper to Bumper Radio with Dave Riccio and Matt Allen, the KTAR Car Guys, every Saturday, 11 to noon on KTAR News 92.3 FM. Winter is finally here. Is your car ready? Whether it's snow up north, rain in the valley,